no, it's not that, it can't be that. Well, how come you can't lose weight? It's not metabolism. It's not the Krispy Kremes you eat every other day. It's not the Dunkin' Donuts on the way to work. No, it's not that. It's just my metabolism. And it's like they make every single excuse rather than saying, you know what, I recognize I have a problem and I need Jesus. Isn't that why we come to church every Sunday? Because we got problems? So Psalm chapter 51, it talks about King David who had an affair with Bathsheba, and he committed adultery. He got her pregnant. And so then he got her husband murdered. He had her husband murdered because of this. And then he was condemned for about 9 months of his life. Some things I want you to see about Psalm 51 before we get into it is this. First one is this happened to King David. Everybody say king. It didn't happen to Shepherd David. It didn't happen to military captain David. It happened to after he already got to that great level that he's always wanted to get to, and God was using him in an amazing way, and that's when he fell. So don't ever have this perception of people in great positions of authority or leadership, and you're shocked that they fall when they get to that. The higher the level, the higher the devil. The more you're going to be tempted. See, I personally think it's so much easier in the shepherd's fields. It's so much easier when there was 20 people in church. It was so much easier. And then 600 people came to church a few weeks ago in our 2 services, and it just keeps it in. And the greater the responsibility, the greater the temptation. Of course, that's how the devil works. We're not blind to that, right? So King David, he falls, and then he condemns himself for 9 months. He doesn't write a single song, and he was an incredible writer. This anointing wasn't, and it's like not because of the sin, because he didn't recognize it. Sin isn't what destroys us. Jesus took care of the sin. It's when we don't deal with it properly. And so finally his friend Nathan comes. Nathan was a prophet, and Nathan says, dude, you got something going on, man. There's a problem going on in your life. We all need a Nathan. Now, we all love to be the Nathan, right? You love to be the one who says, I need to talk to you about something. I recognize there's something going on in your life that just isn't good. We love to be that person, right? We love to do that. But we all need a Nathan in our life. Someone that loves us enough, not to condemn us, but they love us enough to come to us and approach us and say, I think God's got something really good for you. Is there somewhere I can help you overcome in this area, right? So Psalm 51, David falls. Finally, Nathan comes to him, and this could be the point where David fades off into the sunset. This great shepherd turned military might, turned king, and now he makes a mistake, doesn't deal with it. He rides on his horse. We see him fade off, like the old cowboy movies. But he decided one day to get on his knees and say something to God. And he said this in Psalm 51, 1-4. Wash me from my iniquity. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Blot out my transgression. Wash away my evil. Cleanse me from my sin. And here's the title of our sermon. For I recognize my faults and my sin is before me. Here's what he was saying. I love this. It wasn't Bathsheba's fault. Now, yes, she was bathing on the roof of her. What kind of woman carries her bathtub up to the roof of her house and gets in it right in front of the king's? What kind of woman puts half-naked pictures of herself on Instagram every other day? Like, what would you? There's only one reason you're doing it. You're trying to attract something. Yet David said it wasn't her fault. I made this choice. We love to blame. Well, the reason I'm in a bad mood is because my boss wasn't treating me right. No, the reason you're in a bad mood is because you chose to be in a bad mood. Well, the reason I look at pornography is because my wife ignores me. No, you chose to look at that. Now, yes, if she didn't ignore you, it would help, and she could help you with that struggle. But you still made the choice. You made the choice. And so David says, hey, it's all me, and I recognize it's me. And that's the beginning of healing in all of our lives. So I have an analogy I want to use for you, an illustration. And then we'll get into our 3 points. And this didn't go over very well in the first service. So let me just warn you ahead of time. So let me tell you where this came from. My mom, I love my mom. My mom loves me. She loves to give me advice on my sermons after I've already preached it. And so last week she said, honey, you talking about Adam up there like a monkey digging in his rear end. You can't talk about that stuff. People, that's gross. You can't do that anymore. So one of my addictions is I'm rebellious. And so when my mom says you can't do something, because I'm 43, Mom, I think in my head, how can I do what she told me not to the biggest degree I possibly can, right? So she said, you can't be gross. So I thought, what's the grossest illustration I can possibly come up with? So I was walking my dogs this morning, and lo and behold, I was praying for an illustration, and right there, it just landed right there in front of me. And so So imagine going to somebody's house. Well, hold on. I was going to use the fake stuff. But I said, you know what? I'm going all the way. If I'm going to do it, everything I do, I go all the way, right? So imagine going to somebody's house, and right in the middle of their living room, hold on a second. Let's just leave it close for a second. Imagine going to their living room, and you see a pile of, and it's scrap, and it's on there on the floor, and they say, would you like some coffee? I'd like some coffee, but do you see, and here's the thing, they don't have any pets either. This person has no pets. And so, maybe a gerbil, whatever, what makes you feel better. And so, and so you say, well, I can smell something. And they say this, it's been there forever. No big deal, don't even worry about it. Would you like some biscuits with your coffee? I really need you to deal with this. You know what's funny about addictions? Everybody in your life can see it in your heart except for you. Our heart deceives us. And so you go in the living room. Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm just kidding. It's Play-Doh. Give me my Play-Doh back. It's Play-Doh. Mom, it's Play-Doh. Give me my Play-Doh. Give me my Play-Doh. I promise it's Play-Doh. Look, I'll lick it. It's Play-Doh. I think one of my sons switched it out in the middle of service. I'm just kidding. That was an early Mother's Day present from my mom, okay? So you go in somebody's house. I'm just going to preach now. I don't even know what to say. Until I recognize my sin, I'll never be healed from my addiction. And everybody can see it except for you, right? I mean, your parents have been saying this to you for 20 years. Your spouse brings it up every now and then. You get so defensive and you make so many excuses. Could it be that God has been sending Nathans in your life